Like, how are you guys handling this? Because I can't. Like, they are hunting us down like animals. Like, and are you all okay with this? Just because we look this way? Just because of our names? Like, what? I'm so angry. Like, there is so much rage watching those videos of raids in construction sites, like on the street, and by Proud Boys, by white supremacists. They're hunting us down because we look this way, because we speak this way, because we go like. I don't understand how people are still defending this man. Like, I don't get it. Make me understand. Because I can't. I cannot wrap my head around you hunting people down because they look the way they look. Like, what? Okay with this? Just because we look this way?
It's a shame. And we feel, we can't help but feel for you, coming after Cuban people now. And all I saw during the campaign was Cubans for Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. Remember that song? And this is not to throw anything in your face, because it is bad. It just is bad. Nobody deserves to be treated that way. And I don't know. How do you teach people? There was a lot of people trying to tell y'all what was coming if you chose this man. And a lot of you did. And it's a lot worse than we could have imagined, but we've always imagined the worst. You can't imagine or pinpoint exactly how it's going to go down, but it's not going to be good. And we as in not just black people, but those of us that saw through this administration, we knew, and y'all just didn't listen. You just did not listen. For whatever the reasons are, I think a lot of immigrants come here still tied to the old governmental ideologies and regimes and the ways that their governments were run in their country, and they're just looking for an easier or a lighter version of that, not taking into account that you're coming into a whole different world of government. Like, our government does not function, at least it didn't, the way yours did. But you throw away some of it, but you accept like this dictatorship mentality. And now you're finding out, and it's very sad. But stop coming on here fucking crying. That's the part that makes me angry. You ask if we're okay with that. No, we're not okay with it. But I certainly get angry when I see one of your crying faces coming up on here talking about what we should be doing and we should. No.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching me from. I'm your host and presenter Agent Stories, and I'm hoping that you're doing fine. Now, there's something we need to talk about, black folks. I've seen this right now happening, and I'm seeing a lot of Latinos, Cubans complaining the life that they are living. Some are not even sure about the security of themselves. We've been seeing ICE raids happening, and all this has been happening with the Latino community in general. But not trying to dismiss everything that they are going through, because it is valid. They are human beings, and they have the right to complain, to cry. But I would like to interject this. Black people that, at least I know their history a lot more than the Cuban Latinos. Again, I'm saying I'm not dismissing what they're going through. But remember, if you can remember what happened somewhere around November, December, January, you could see that clearly these people didn't listen to black folks, right? But this has already happened, right? And it's not a good thing that is happening to them, and we are not celebrating it. But I think all these things that are happening actually acts like a lesson to all these folks, for example, immigrants that come to the United States, and when they're told something, they don't listen to black folks. But remember, the people who are warning you about all these are people who have lived all these experience, and they know from what they're coming from. Because if a Cuban person is crying online saying that they are being hunted like animals, trust me, black folks have always been hunted like animals, and this is something that has been happening. So when black people tell you to do A, B, C, D, they're telling you from experience, and they know the models that they use for this to work. So as a result, what implication does this have to a lot of people? And I think this is a broader message to a lot of people that don't want to associate with black people, but at the end of the day will come run for help from black folks. I'll just switch this video. I'll be back, and then we'll be sharing our thoughts at the end of it all.
No. You can't uncook food. You've cooked the food already. The rice and beans are cooked. You can't uncook them and then try to put it someplace else. You gotta live with it. You gotta live with it. And the fucked up shit is he's not even sending y'all back to your home countries. That's the fucked up shit about it all. You didn't listen. You didn't want to listen for whatever the reasons are, and we could go back and forth about what that is, but you're not different in their eyes. If you've learned anything, I hope you've learned that. You are not, yes, it's because of your name, and yes, it's because of the way you look that sets you apart from them. And he played you. And he played you.
Now at 10, ICE operations continue in San Antonio. For a second day in a row, agents are seen arresting migrants at immigration court.
And look at this scene on the northwest side. 3 people who appear to be part of a landscaping company. They were taken into custody in this parking lot of the shopping center. Tonight, KENS 5 reporter Megan Reina is following all these developments for us. Megan?
Well, Henry Easties, this is part of the Trump administration's push for mass deportations. We heard from 2 immigration attorneys who watched as their clients were taken into custody today after they showed up to their scheduled immigration hearings. Crying out, "I don't want to die in Honduras," an emotional mother taken by ICE agents at immigration court Thursday. Another mother also placed in the same van. Her husband says she has no prior criminal history.
Mis hijas esperándolos en la casa. 6 niñas tengo que dependen de nosotros.
But like most arrested, she had just had her case dismissed by a judge.
We were requesting a merits hearing, and the judge declined to set a merits hearing because DHS asked for the case to be dismissed and the client to be ordered removed, saying that it was not in the government's interest to hear a full case.
These videos shared to us show agents in the lobby of the immigration court waiting for migrants, one agent even holding what appears to be a list with pictures. Shortly after, you see agents escort an entire family into a charter bus. ICE says these arrests are a part of the Trump administration's plans to reverse former President Biden's so-called catch and release program. They are now utilizing expedited removals. It allows them to fast-track deportations for people who have been in the country for less than 2 years. These arrests are evoking fear among people who have upcoming hearings. One attorney who's representing a man from Central Africa says the option for migrants to appear virtually for hearings appears to be gone. Her client also had his case dismissed.
I feel like we portraying people who is here with credible fears. Just knowing his story, I feel like I let him down.
But
I thought they said they were going after criminals. Those are babies. Those are children, mothers, landscapers. These immigrants are showing up to their immigration appointments trying to stay in this country the right way. And how do they get rewarded for being upstanding, doing things the right way? They get set up and they get deported. Of course, they lied when they said you get to stay if you do things the right way and you're not a criminal. These are innocent babies between the ages of 9 and 12 being zip-tied like criminals, while an actual criminal, 34-time felon rapist, leader of our country, is pardoning other criminals, the cop killing Jay Sixers and Todd and Julie Chrisley. This is what a lot of you Mexicans and Latinos voted for. Not only are you failures, you are the biggest danger to yourselves, your own family, and your community. What an absolute disgrace you are, MAGA Latinos. They are rapidly deporting Black and brown people, many who are indigenous to this continent, while simultaneously importing white supremacists from South Africa, which is an entirely different continent for those who don't know.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. I know I am. Church was amazing. Now I'm back home in my chill zone, just relaxing on a beautiful Sunday. But while I'm sitting out here relaxing, I was thinking about something I heard over the weekend, and that was that the Supreme Court upheld Donald Trump stripping away the humanitarian parole from 500,000 people. Yep. They gave him the right. They gave him the green light. So now he gets to strip away the humanitarian parole rights from these people that was protecting them from deportation. But the even more interesting part of that story is that guess who was like the first country that fell up under that? The first country that was listed was Cuba. So, isn't that ironic? Because Cubans in Florida alone, Florida statewide, they voted for Trump 70%. They voted 70% Trump. Now, nationwide, the American Cubans, they voted 54% in favor of Trump. Right? So you had this overwhelmingly support from the American Cubans. That means overwhelmingly they voted and ushered this season in upon themselves. And that precious humanitarian parole was something that they held near and dear because it held them above other standards of other immigrants, right? Because they had that status, they didn't have that worry. So they just knew that they were protected as they were going into those booths to vote 70% Trump in Florida. Now, fast forward to today. Trump honors and thanks you for your 70% support, for your 54 nationwide % support. He honors and thanks you for that overwhelmingly support by stripping away the very thing that kept you here. That kept you not just here, but kept you here safe. So safe to the point that you thought that it would get you special treatment. You thought it would set you aside from the ones that you thought he was talking about. Yeah. It's eerie to the point how much support he had to do this to you. That's the eerie part. You overwhelmingly voted for him to do this to you? Because you thought you were hiding behind one little title that left you immune to everything that you knew he was going to do. And you can't say you didn't know he was going to do it, because he ran on it. Every rally had mass deportation signs all over the freaking place. He never missed a rally. He never did a rally without harping on his his bloody mass deportation. And you better believe it's bloody. It's just not being shown, because the tattoos and the body marks that they're showing with these mask-covered ICE agents, look at those tattoos. They're tied to white supremacist groups. He has let his people go on you. That's why it's so quiet. That's why you haven't heard anything from any of them. You know why? They're too busy being sent out on ICE patrol. They're being distributed all throughout the country to be ICE agents. And now they're living their wildest fantasy. I heard one young Cuban woman came on saying they're out here hunting us like animals. They really are. They really are. But what the really sad part about it is 70% in one state, 70% ushered this in. Nationwide, it was still over half of y'all ushered this in, because over half of you were not thinking about your community. Over half of you were not thinking about your people. Over half of you were not thinking about your own families, friends, your communities. You weren't thinking about that. You were thinking about self. You thought you would stay tuckly behind that fence. And it did. They wouldn't. You good because you got here the right way. Because you know you got the humanitarian parole. You ain't. That ain't your worry. So you went ahead and you voted because you thought it would not personally affect you, but you did not care how it would affect your people, your community. And now your community is, lashing out at us when they really should be lashing out at you. You brought this upon them. We didn't do it. We voted against 92, 80. We voted against mass deportations. Where y'all went as far as voting 70% for mass deportations. Let that sink in. And once y'all deal with those inside traitors, once y'all handle them, once y'all show that smoke to them, maybe we will listen to something you have directed toward us. But right now, while you sitting up here getting your anger and your resentment and your frustration and your hatred out, and you just lashing it out at us, we ain't even trying to hear it. It's not affecting us. It's not piercing 1 inch, because we know. It's just like they said, when you know you didn't do something to a person, when you know you ain't did nothing to a person, you don't have to worry about how that person feel about you. We know we didn't do this to y'all. Our numbers speak for themselves. Can you say the same? Can you say the same? And if you can't, you need to redirect your energy. You need to redirect your comments. You need to redirect your anger. This was a self-inflicted wound from your community. Our community did everything we could to protect you from this. But you're so much better than we are. You're so much more. We can't tell you anything because, you're too close to whiteness to listen to us. So you went out there on that limb and they chopped it off. So what you need to do, you need to get together with your own people. You need to quit getting on social media embarrassing yourselves, because everybody with half a peace of mind know this was a self-inflicted wound. And until you got that energy for them, don't come over here. Don't come over here. Don't come over here, because you're going to get your feelings hurt. But what you need to do is y'all need to go do some serious self-reflecting, and y'all need to deal with y'all own inner hate toward each other. because it was a lack of care. It was a lack of love for their own that let them go in there and voted with the way they voted. So until y'all deal with that, don't worry about what's going on around here. We ain't worried about it. We were the only one. We were the only group that went in unanimously, overwhelmingly, 10 toes downly. We were the only ones. We ain't got time for it. We don't even want to hear it. We out here line dancing. We out here stocking up. We out here doing what we got to do. So I suggest y'all do the same. Anyway, before I get out of here, just one quick question. Cubans, the one that was voting for Donald Trump, yeah. Is it great again yet? Just asking for a friend.
Political governmental manipulation. Here we go again. So now the Cubans are going to suffer because the Supreme Court gave Trump the okay to deport over 500,000 people. And some of those people are going to be Cubans. Cubans are going back home. And listen to this. You know what I realized? So one government says, come on in, come on. Y'all are welcome, y'all are welcome. And they come in and that government gets elected because people are saying, oh my God, they're helping the Cubans. Fidel is doing them so bad, and here comes Biden, Clinton, all of them. Let's go. Let the Cubans in. Let them in. All right. So then they come in, and now they're going out. Right? Then also now, Biden open up the borders. Let everybody in. Let everybody in. Then Trump come in. They're going out. And innocent people that has been here, now a light is shined on them. Political parties just use the people just for their benefits, and they don't care about the people. We see this time and time again. We see this time and time again. This is crazy. So now Cubans that has been here, has the protection of being here because they flee, they're gone. Whatever they have established, families, whatever, gonna be broken up and gone. Back to a place that we know is hardship. Yo, this is just crazy. And the Supreme Court, that part, the highest court, one government said these people can come in and gave them asylum. Then the Supreme Court is saying, no, you can send them back. So what does that say? What does that say? Who do you believe? Not the government.
If you are Latino and your go-to phrase when asked about all the injustices that are happening with immigrants and with minorities in this country, if your go-to phrase is, well, I don't know much about it because there's nothing I can do and it really messes with my mental health, that is privilege, because the least you can do is be informed. The least you can do is grab your little phone that's already in your hand 24/7 and inform yourself on what is going on. That is the bare minimum. The injustices that are happening, the raids, there's just so much going on where not being informed is neglect. It's wrong. You cannot pretend that the world is a perfect place and keep on about your day because it doesn't personally affect you right now. This idea that because it's happening to others and it's not directly happening to me right now, that is why we are where we are. And it really goes for anyone. Being willfully ignorant is a choice. Because the same way, especially for other creators that use the Hispanic, the Latino card to get more followers and to get a platform, the same way that you can research lipstick colors and you can research the algorithm, you can research what is happening to your community, that same community that you rounded up to get you where you are and to get you money and to get you to the next step. The same way you can stand up. A lot of these creators, regardless of how big or small your platform is, are staying quiet because a lot of them voted for this. And it just shows people's true colors. And it's not come out and speak on it like you're an expert, but at least repost, at least talk about it, at least inform yourself. If you don't know, do the research. We live in a time and place where research is readily available. Talk to those who know more. It's not an excuse anymore, and it pisses me off.
Hello beautiful brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host and presenter Stories. Now the following are a couple of things that we need to address as a nation or black people. The fact that I understand right now they are talking online, needing help. Of course, everyone needs help. We all need help, right? But I think the most important thing out of it, out of all this scenario, is that people are getting now to learn and see the true perspective of black people. Because initially, when they were in the United States, some couldn't even listen to black people. Some, even when black people could approach them, they could say that I don't speak English, by all these things. Like, they try to not bring black people in their circles, at least not all of them, but from the perspective of black people that I've heard how they complain about Cubans, about Latinos, and even worst of it all is about this group of people that this group of black people that usually like going to different countries, explorers, travelers, so when they go there, the type of how they're being received is really, really different. And so it can tell you how anti-blackness, how anti-black these folks have always been. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to remind you that they all need help, right? Everyone needs help, including black people. And I'm not even creating this video to dismiss the challenges that they are going through. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to remind folks that, remember, black folks have been going through these things for the longest time in human history. When you talk about mass incarceration, when you talk about all this hunting, when you talk about all these restrictive rules that they put to black people so that they can keep working for them. And you come to the United States as an immigrant. You can be African, you can be Asian, you can be anybody. You come from Scotland, name it all, right? But you really don't know the history of the United States. You really don't know the history of America. But black folks have lived all this history. They know what they're going through. They know this type of suffering, and they have all this experience firsthand. So when they advise you or when they tell you to make the right decision in the ballot box, you definitely know what you do. And I think the world is learning from the mistakes that they made. And right now, I hope and believe that they're going to make the right decision, right? So I also thought that it's imperative for me to share people's comments in regards to this, because I like sharing black people's comment so that we can get to hear your first-hand reaction. And these are not my words; these are words from black people. I'm just gonna be sharing what they thought. What they think about this, as it is important. So somebody shared by saying, "This is how we felt and still feel and still are being hunted. We are starting to help our own. No one helped us. We were hung and still being hung and still being killed in the streets. Those tears are not going to help. We cried many tears and still crying, but yet you want us to help you." When you hear a black person say something like this, it's because they tried to warn you. The only chance you had to resonate with a black person, you didn't do that. But now, it is happening right in front of you. It is happening in front of you, and now you're crying for help. And when you try to look around, the only person that you resonate with is a black person. Again, question, why didn't you listen to your black person? Because at least if you're a person who understands history, when you go to the United States, you'll get to realize that these are literally people that have fought for even a lot of immigrants we are seeing today coming to the United States, including people like we Africans who always want to go to the United States and then come back. We have people like, you could easily get to the United States because they made it easier for you. And I think you could see even Trump himself has always been fighting not to allow a lot of, immigrants get inside the United States. So somebody's saying, it's not just Cuban, it's most immigrants in general. I'm not fooled by the tears at all. They were absolutely okay with this until was them. So go ICE. Yeah, ICE raids has been crazy, honestly. When you talk about ICE raids, for the past 4 months, ICE raids have been literally crazy. That being said, so, but black people want you all. right? And when you get to these places, you want to associate so much with you want to associate so much with white folks as compared to black folks without knowing that the person that will help you or the person that will support you is a black person. That being said, somebody also said that their racism got them in the situation they are in. We don't have anything to do with it now because we did our protest and voted for humanity rights and equality for everyone. Now they have to deal with whatever is coming, just like black Americans who did overwhelmingly, collectively, and as a whole community voted for Kamala democracy and rights for everyone. Yeah, all these problems manifested when you all just decided to make the wrong decision. And that's when the game changed. That's when things changed. That being said, so in as much as there is more of regret in regards to this, but I would like to note that there is still hope for the United States. But all in all, the most important thing I would love, I mean, even if I want to have control, but this is what I say, I would love at least if people get to understand that black people, 90% of the time, they are never wrong when they tell you something, especially things that are happening in the United States in regards to security, in regards to politics, in regards to racism, because they have received this firsthand. Also, somebody said that she forgot what America is. It's almost like she ignored all the Black History Month fact and the tiny amounts she might have been taught in American education system. We know it sucks to be haunted, which is why the majority of us voted the way we did. It all culminates down to that. Dang, this sun is coming from this side. Yeah, I'm in the countryside right now, as you can see. But we gotta do what we gotta do. I'm gonna be talking with my black folks, getting to understand how they're going. Is everything okay, right? So somebody's saying that you're now going through your karma and experiencing everything we go through. We tried warning you all for generations, but you didn't want to hear it or believe from us. This is something that has been saying. The only person you can trust, or the only person that can tell you something and trust and hear them without turning against you, is a black person. Majority of these folks are right now understanding that black folks are really saying the truth. So let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. I'm your host and presenter Genetic Stories. If you're watching us for the first time, I'll most definitely ask you to subscribe to the channel, join our membership, and really get what we can offer you. For those who are watching us for the first time, kindly consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll be back again in the next video. But until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.